Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Vox Markets for Tuesday, the 2nd of November. Starting off with Alpha Growth, which looks like it's back with a bear trap from below August support there at 2.6 pence. We had just a couple of nudges below it, and then a sort of saucer-shaped reversal, bouncing off the 50-day moving average and breaking that June resistance line at 2.86. Above that 50-day line, looking for 4 pence at least initially, maybe as soon as the end of this month. On to Bidstack, which is next. I saw that Mr. McNulty has been tweeting about it, which is always helpful. Here we're in a situation where we were looking for 2.6 pence, especially while the shares were above that last October peak around 2.1 pence. But I think that we can upgrade that target now, perhaps as high as 3.7, 3.8 pence. You can just see the 200-day line there just coming down from 4 pence, and so the shares may have the momentum to hit that maybe by the end of the year. Moving along to a stock which has been rather quiet until today, we've got Blu Star Capital breaking that line of resistance from April. That was at 0.14 pence. Maybe the key here, though, is that we hold above the initial September resistance at 0.16. Above that, we're looking for the top of a broadening triangle from back in January as high as 0.28, perhaps over the next month or so, but everything depends on the shares managing to sustain 0.16. In the past, we've just seen one-day wonder rallies which haven't really delivered the goods for the bulls. On to Biotrol, which shows up on the radar at the moment. Here you can see a trend line break there from the end of April and breaking above the 50-day moving average at 4.7 pence. Above 4.7 we're looking for initially the 200-day line just below 6 pence, and maybe up to the top of the June triangle there up to 7 pence on a 2 to 3 month time frame. But it looks as though the shares finally heading higher after an extended decline from back in the spring. On to Devco, which had an ACF note today, a target of 118 to 125 if I remember correctly. That means we've got about 90p to go, according to that particular analysis. But here we see the shares bouncing off the floor of that rising trend channel from January. That's around the 30p mark. Initially, the target could be up to 37 pence. A weekly close above that then takes us on to the long-awaited 55 pence technical target, maybe something that could happen by the end of the year. Next contender is Ethernity Networks, and here you can see that the shares have broken that line of resistance there from April. That was around 52 pence. Above that, on an end of day close basis, we could see the shares up as high as 75 or 80 pence by the end of the year. Both the 50 and 200-day moving averages rising parallel, and we've also closed above that gap down from back in September, which is a pretty good signal. On most occasions, closing above a gap down, or the top of a gap down, can be a good sign. On to HydrogenOne, which I don't think I've looked at before, and I wish I had, but obviously the clue is in the name in terms of being a potential COP26 winner. And we've broken two new highs, breaking the October peak 118, and above 118 looking for the top of that rising trend channel from back in the end of July as high as £1.45, perhaps as soon as the end of this month. So that's looking quite healthy at the moment. On to IQAI, where looks as though the shares are bouncing along the bottom. A nice U-shaped reversal there. That sort of low, low down to 5.17 pence, but we've been higher ever since. And just really wanting to see a clearance of the 7.25 pence area. If we can do that, then the shares could be back on their way to a 10 pence plus retesting the June resistance, maybe by the end of the year. But if you're cautious, probably wait for clearance of either 7.25 or the 200-day moving average at 7.65. But it does already look as though the shares are back in recovery mode. I suppose you can draw a line of resistance there, and that's the line which has been broken from June. Above that, then aggressive bulls would be pressing the buy button. IronRidge is a company that Been interviewed a couple of times, and it's amazing given the fundamentals why the shares are not higher, but that's the market. You can't argue with the market. We had a little bear trap down to below 617 pence last month. We've gapped higher and filled the gap and then bounced since, so it looks as though the shares are finally on their way. Initial target here, 24 pence. Longer target maybe for the end of the year up to 35, 36 pence at the top of that rising trend channel from this time last year. Just a couple of contenders to go. First is OPG Power Ventures, and here a nice, I suppose it's an inverted head and shoulders or a W-shaped reversal, but whatever it is, we've got a bull flag at the moment, a bull flag breakout above 14 pence. Looking for the shares to basically get up to the 20 pence area. Should go all the way, actually. Looks like a very decent turnaround, good volume there as well. And so looking for a target, probably something like the line I'm drawing, and the lower parallel there, like that. So up to 20 pence or so, maybe as soon as the end of the year, or maybe even the end of the month, the way things are going for OPG. Finishing off with the stock I've looked at quite a few times, but on a rather thin day, it might be worth looking at it again. Here we've got Tower Resources, which is pushing higher up towards the designated target area, 0.65, 0.66, something like that. And that's valid while we hold above the former high there around 0.49. So above 0.49 up to 0.65 or so. If you're ambitious about the stock, then the longer target for the shares is up to perhaps up to a penny, which is the wider trend channel, which I'll try and get. But basically, let's just see where that is. The top of the rising trend channel from back in 2020. So that is the longer dated target for the shares over the next few months. But looks like the mid-60s pretty well nailed on for TRP. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.